Okay, so here I am. I have a Logic template set up that I've already kind of pre-programmed for doing film scoring. It's got basically all the instruments that I normally would use on any that are kind of called for. A lot of the main instruments, like a lot of the main orchestral instruments. The software that I use the most for doing this is from Garritan, and it's called Instant Orchestra, and it is really good. It doesn't do everything for you, as far as it doesn't have everything that you want, but it has almost everything you want. Especially when you're working really fast, it gives you a lot of ways to quickly come up with ideas and quickly flesh them out so that you can develop them or perfect them later. It's a great improvisation tool. It doesn't have any musical like articulations where it has the music for you, but it has the instruments ready to play. If you're going to be doing a lot of solo instruments like solo violins or other things, then Instant Orchestra is not the library for you. It does have a lot of effects and stuff, and it has a lot of things that you will hear a lot cinematically, but it doesn't have everything. So I primarily use Garritan Personal Orchestra, Garritan Instant Orchestra, Garritan World Libraries, and I also use Wildlander. Wivy has a really good. I use their brass a lot, but anyway, the first cue is done basically because I just took the section of music from 4 and put it into 5 and kind of looped it a little bit.
It's been too long since you have stopped painting. Tell me, am I not beautiful? Do I not please you? Time does not touch me. I have
So I still am using the same.
Am I not like?
Then I kind of loop it together.
And sacrifice the innocent.
So I can elongate it, so I didn't have to write specific music just for this part because it's already the same as before.
Pity, heretics are not. Take your boy and leave.
We're not leaving.
And
You're no goddess.
then I added an ending to it so that I could segue into this new section that's got a lot of percussion. Well, for this particular part of the scene, this is where I was talking about when I was first imagining what would drive the kind of be the cohesive element about this entire scene would be some kind of a percussive driving rhythm, and taiko drums, bass drums, some brass stuff, got some idea for a melody type of thing, but right now, what really the skeleton of this, the thing that's the backbone, is this about this tempo too. And that's the basic beat right there. Then I have something like that. That would be really good for that. And so I think that'll be probably the basis. And whenever I don't need to have the big, heavy drum beats, for some of the more, like I said before, where when I want to underscore dialogue, but I still want to keep up that type of driving rhythm, I'll use pizzicato strings or colegno, so that there's not this huge sound, but you can still hear that there's something percussive happening. And let's see here, yeah. As far as for, I don't know, for So I also have, you know, a timpani. I probably would use some timpani too. Of course, there's a, you know, there's I can use some cymbals and gongs, and this right there is called tam tam. I got the bass drum here, and so that'll help kind of kick that in there a little bit more. Let's see here. I'm thinking using this is brass, like a something kind of like that as far as some sort of a kind of a call and response where there's always a down here at the low end kind of accenting with this melody that's kind of a, you know, something similar to that. I don't know. I've there's just some ideas, and having the Wagner brass help along with that melody, and also have maybe some of the lower brass kind of do this at the first when she first comes out of there to kind of sort of like a kind of ominous. I'm not sure. Something similar. It's just kind of an effect or, you know, accent that adds some. Uh-oh, you know, here's something's coming. So to it. That's pretty much what I kind of have in store for this. I really got to get on this, so I'll let you hear it after I'm finished with this particular scene. Well, I just finished this first section from the time where the witch appears and then she gets ashes blown on her face, and I think it went pretty well. All of those elements that I talked about earlier are there. I kind of followed through with my initial intentions, and it actually works out pretty well on the screen. I'll play it for you. So we have this hit. So there's that rhythm, and I have the brass and all that stuff. And here's that recognition theme that they were asking about. He wanted. See, I thought that would be a good segue into this. Here comes that brass melody I was telling you about. Of course, there's some violin string flourishes with the trills. So that's what I have so far. It's a Tuesday afternoon, and I got to ready to go to bed because I have to get up for work. But I'm pretty happy with this so far. I think it'll continue after she reacts to the ashes getting blown on her face. It's going to drive up the intensity a little bit. I mean, it's still going to be roughly the same kind of tempo, but it's going to be a little more driving and more intensive. And so coming up next is going to be they're still going to be battling out, but there's going to be lots of of dialogue. So that's where I'm going to have to be careful as far as underscoring, so that you can still hear the dialogue, but yet the rhythm is still going to be there, so that it keeps it together. And so that's what's coming up next. Hopefully, I can do this. I'm not, because of time, I'm not going to go through every little take and show me actually writing it out, because I don't have time for that. I don't have time to worry about the cameras. But what I want to do is I'll after I finish each section, I'll play it and I'll show you what I did and give you some ideas of what I did. So, and then we'll sum it up after the end. Well, this is Wednesday morning. I just got back from work, and as I was at work, I was thinking a lot more about what I wanted to do in this next section. This is kind of a little more tricky, and because in the fact that there's dialogue. There was a little bit before, but there's quite a bit going on here dialogue-wise. And as I approach composing, I have to be mindful of that. So I want to continue this driving rhythm going on that I've established with the drums and that kind of stuff. But when they speak, I need to hold back on some of the instrumentation there. Not necessarily the volume, and not necessarily the driving rhythm, but pull back on some of the more heavy-hitting stuff, so that I can give room in the soundtrack for their voices. I don't want to interfere with them, and I don't want them to interfere with my music. So rather than just composing through and doing ducking, which is basically just reducing the volume while they speak and bring it back up, I don't want to do that. I'll bring down the instrumentation a little bit, so there's still intensity there, but not going to be quite so much bombastic stuff happening when they're trying to talk. So I've already timed all this out when they're speaking, and I've taken the time to actually measure how many frames, how many seconds.
Vanishing parchment. Pattern
for
47.
each of those, and where they happen.
I don't know that one.
So that I can
Try 17.
I can be mindful of that as I'm writing. So let me get this done, and then we'll talk about it after the fact. I hope this is okay talking about things after I'm finished with them, because it would really be kind of distracting and difficult for me to do, to record as I'm writing and composing, because then I'm thinking about the cameras and not about the music so much. So it's kind of weird, I know, but so here it goes.